Welcome back to the channel. Here we are talking all things Doctor Who, stretching from right back at that very beginning to the here and the now, and with a very special co-pilot. I'm happy to welcome back. After a few months now, it's been a while since we caught up. It's the saviour of the Daleks, the one, the only, Mr. Ian Levine.
You forgot to say controversial.
It sort of goes without saying, doesn't it? I think people hear that word when they hear Ian Levine, they sort of hear it inserted.
I attract love and I attract hate, but the extremities of the hate goes beyond all sense. Somebody pointed out to me recently that when I was having all my cancer treatment recently, that one of the nasty groups who hate me said they've got their champagne on ice in the hope that their attempts to stop me, like letter writing campaigns to the BBC, will give me another stroke, and they had champagne on ice just waiting for it. Now they feel about me like I feel about Trump. If Trump was to die tomorrow, I would jump. Not I couldn't jump for I'm too disabled, but I would be very happy because I think the man is evil and is damaging the world. But the point is, they hate me with the same passion, which is unbearable, the lengths they go to. They did a letter to BBC copyright brand protection.
Oh, okay.
They had a letter. I saw the letter, and in it they asked everybody to rewrite the letter in their own words and send it. They put the address up. So there was a vendetta of hate mail received by the BBC. And, what's the BBC going to think? It's genuine fans accusing me of charging them to see Doctor Who. I've never charged a penny. I've only asked people that really want to voluntarily contribute towards them, because I've spent over 100 grand, and 80 grand of it came from the money I raised from selling off my record royalties.
The word voluntary has always been very, very stressed, hasn't it, throughout the entire process?
Very, very stressed. I would never charge anyone for anything. If people want to voluntarily chip in, I don't mind showing them the episodes. But that's the only way. I can't. Why would I spend 100 grand and show them for free? What reason would I have when the BBC have fought me every step of the way? Every video gets blocked by YouTube, automatically blocked by the BBC. Then we have to complain about it. It has to go through this process of review till we get it back up. Luckily, so far, they've released them. They've not challenged them, and they've gone back up because we're not showing them. We're not making them publicly available. They're only available to very, very small groups of people. And the only way people can enter those groups is if they're a donator. That's not charging people. I'll never have.
You've got a team of admins, haven't you, that screen people for entry?
Absolutely. Especially Henry Carlson in America. Especially Henry. He runs the YouTube site and challenges every video gets blocked. For instance, we're about to give up Fury from the Deep Part 1, completely remade from scratch. We did the whole of the massacre. Now we're doing Fury from the Deep, complete, not using any of the old footage, starting again with a year of newer technology since it's been done, and redoing it from scratch. Now, they look like the massacre looked amazing. If the real story turned up tomorrow, I don't think it'd be any better. I think it looks like it sort of fulfills every need I have to watch it. Fury from the Deep will look great, but the minute we put it up, they're going to block it. So then we have to challenge the block on the basis that it's fair usage and that it's only being done for a limited number. In the end, they release it, but I know for a fact that they've had a lot of complaints in writing lately by people accusing me of selling these things, and that sickens me. That is
it must be tiring, Ian, to explain the same thing over and over again to people, or to go through the same process.
Always. Why have I had to suffer like this? There's 170 episodes. They wouldn't have it not for me, because I stopped the junking, and I've worked out how many I gave them back. I think 22 or 23, and the 150 that I saved actually from Pamela Nash's junking. If I'd never been born, if Ian Levine had never existed in an alternate universe, you would now be missing 170 more Doctor Who episodes than you're missing now. When I went to Longley in '83 for the 20th anniversary, I sorted all the props for the costumes out. We had 2 days of auctioning them on stage, held by John Pertwee, Peter Davison, Tom Baker, coming on stage, Valentine Dial, people like that coming to help us, auction one property, the famous picture of John Pertwee holding up the cyber controller helmet from Tomb of the Cybermen next to me. Anyway, the point is I raised 100 grand by doing that. They never thanked me for what I do. All those deleted scenes that I got when I was script consultant, and I gave them all back to them for Blu-rays. I don't mind doing it if they didn't treat me like a pariah. People that hate me mock me because they said the BBC will never take my stuff. We know they never will, but it's a shame because people are seeing crappy cartoons, not what we've done, which is much better and looks like the real thing, looks authentic.
We're going to catch up on all of that. What's on your mind with those projects? Doctor Who itself, probably drop a few bombshells. We're going to find out what's on your mind, Ian, as a lifelong fan of all things Doctor Who from right there, from the very beginning.
Well, I hated last season, but I love this season. This season, watching Lucky Day was like watching Blink. It was that much of a classic. Pete McTighe and I were friends. He turned on me. I don't get on with him at all. He won't speak to me, and I don't have anything to do with him. But that's got nothing to do with my appreciating the talent. It was a great script, and full marks to him for writing it. It's brilliant, brilliant. What a great script. I just felt that awful guy, Conrad, who was played by a brilliant actor who was the star of The Tattooist of Auschwitz. I know he was also Prince Eric in the live action of The Little Mermaid, but I love The Tattooist of Auschwitz, and I raved about his talent then. Anyway, so he plays Ruby's boyfriend, who isn't, because he turns on her because he's just there to be like Trump's MAGA supporters to try and disprove the truth. He's blind, blinkered, cloth-eared, and turns into the most horrible character. And especially the fact that when he slagged off Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart, that was bound to get all Doctor Who fans hating him. I loved some people still didn't like it. I loved it. I think it was fantastic. Unfortunately and tragically, the damage was done with Space Babies last year. And I feel the figures are so low. 1.5 million is the lowest ever.
I'd offer that. Yeah, the damage has been done. But do you really think that the blame lies squarely with an episode that was so light and fluffy and uncontroversial as Space Babies?
No.
It must be a combination.
No.
I'm disagreeing. I'm disagreeing with you. No, but what I'm offering
let
is
me get a word in edgeways.
But surely, Ian, something like that doesn't happen overnight, is what I'm saying. With one episode,
let me get a word in edgeways. Somebody like Russell T Davies is in charge of the show as the showrunner. It's his responsibility. He had no right to open such an important new series as last year, which Disney were plugging and promoting to the extent of having tube trains in America painted with Doctor Who. Anyway, if he'd opened the season with something like Boom or something, that would have been all right. But he opened it with Space Babies, which was sickeningly, loathsomely crap. And it's his duty. He should have been able to see that by opening Doctor Who's comeback with an episode about the nappies full of shit fueling a spaceship, to be able to open with that, he was irresponsible. To follow it on the same note with Devil's Chord. Yeah, Devil's Chord, where the end is a complete glee type song and dance number, all jiving and horribly dancing around. There's a twist in the end. It was awful. Devil's Chord would have been great without the song and dance, but it was awful with it.
I agree.
We opened the thing with those two. Everyone I know of the older fans turned off and wouldn't turn back on. Your friend Simon Fuller won't even watch the new series, even when I say that Lucky Day and that The Well were two of the best Doctor Who episodes I've ever seen. The show is magnificent right now, but it could get cancelled because of the shit of Space Babies and Devil's Chord that happened last year, because the damage has been done. And Disney have probably already made their mind up. It's a shame. But he's totally responsible for what he's done, because he used last season to force his agenda on an unwilling public. The world today is not the world of 20 years ago. It's not. The world today is a horrible place where us left-wing people like me are totally besieged by, both in England with Reform UK and America with MAGA, we're besieged by right-wing bigotry and hatred. What Trump is doing to Trump, even dressed as the Pope recently,
How do you feel personally oppressed by such characters, Ian? How's it impacted on your day-to-day life?
I'm scared because, I'm very disabled. I can't walk, and I live on disability. If for Reform UK were to get in, I wouldn't get my disability. I wouldn't be able to eat. I wouldn't be able to live.
You're aware that the Labour Party are also cutting back on so much.
The enemies and the trolls are all who accuse me of taking money in for these Doctor Who's. I have never taken a penny. I've only had voluntary donations, which have not covered more than 20% of the money I've spent. The rest of the money, I mortgaged my life basically to pay for these Doctor Who's, so I could see them before I died. I've had cancer twice. I've had a stroke. I've had sepsis. Got sarcoidosis. I don't know how long I'll be here for. I don't know if I'll be here next year or if I'll be here in 10 years. I don't know.
So the idea that Doctor Who could vanish for an extended period of time obviously would fill you with a lot of disappointment, I would imagine.
Not grief, because of 16 years last time, and I honestly don't think with what's wrong with me, I could possibly be here in 16 years' time. I don't think it's possible.
When everything was going to the dogs the first time, you made a public plea, didn't you, to Russell T Davies or Stephen Moffat to come back to the show?
This. Yeah. You see, I've said be careful what you wish for. I wish for Russell to come back very publicly, and he came back with Space Babies, and it gutted me.
Well, he came back with the Star Beast, didn't he? The trilogy, and then the Church on Ruby Road.
Giggle was all right, but nothing else since he came back until now has worked well for me. Until I quite liked the Robot Revolution. Was it Robot Revolution? Yeah.
Yeah.
I quite liked it. I adored the cartoon one.
Lux?
Lux, yes. I adored Lux. Sorry, it's not like me at all. I don't think of it. But when I saw The Well, I sat there like, I just sat there mesmerized by The Well and the creature from Midnight. I've always said to many people, including you, I wish Russell would write another story like Midnight. And he did. Wow. Yeah, not only did he do it, but then he followed it out with Lucky Day for Pete Montague, somebody who I personally don't like, but is a fucking brilliant writer. Fucking brilliant.
So in your mind, are they, this year so far, this season so far, are they 4 for 4? You're generally really pleased with where it is at the moment?
Yeah, really pleased, 4 for 4. I won't be the same when I see the Eurovision Song Contest episode. I know.
I was going to ask you about that.
Somebody watching this, please tell Pete Montague that I raved about his episode. I want him to know. I'm asking you to tell him.
We'll try and get it through to Pete. We've got some mutual friends. Yeah, he's blocked me. Even though I don't know him, he's blocked me. But we'll get it through to him somehow.
Somebody watching this must know him, so somebody can tell him.
Now, I did wonder about you and the Eurovision thing. Obviously, being from the music industry, I've never asked your feelings about your. So is it that you think that Eurovision and Doctor Who is like oil and water, or
back
is it
in the early 90s? I was asked to write a song for Eurovision because I had all my Take That hits then and everything. I just refused. I said I don't want to do it because I don't want to have my name cheapened by songs like Puppet on a String and Boom Bang a Bang over the years. Making my mind. I just don't want to be cheapened by my music being next to those. Eurovision to me is the lowest common denominator. Eurovision to me is the equivalent of me doing Doctor in Distress.
So the idea that they're all over, that they're marrying Doctor Who to the Eurovision Song Contest as well on the big night.
Yeah,
Ncuti Gatwa reading the results.
I can't bear it.
What do you think's behind these misconceptions? The idea that Doctor Who and the Eurovision Song Contest are right together. The idea that you can't have villains who use a wheelchair. What do you think is behind these kind of strange ideas?
Russell's demented thinking. I don't know, but he has proved this year that he can do it. This year should have been last year. This year has now got to repair damage. It's the damage from Space Babies is why it got 1.5 million overnight. And the stupidity and putting it on iPlayer at 8 in the morning. Why do they have to do that? What's the idiocy behind it? Fucking hell. Just don't put it on iPlayer till it's shown. Are you a fucking idiot, Russell? Are you stupid? Don't put it on iPlayer. Doesn't need to be. Don't worry that a few people in America might see it before us. Just fucking wait till 7 o'clock before you put it on iPlayer. Then you might not have such stupid ratings, 1.5 million. My God, that pisses me off.
Obviously,
Look
Russell,
at
if you're watching,
that picture of me looks like he's glaring at me, like he did when the Torchwood launch in Cardiff, when I asked him a question about Torchwood. And he says, Ian Levine, you're not a journalist, so you can fuck off. And I've never spoken a word to him since. Despite that, as you saw in that post, I did beg for him to come back.
Yeah.
Russell T. Davies, Pete McTighe, I don't have to like you to respect you. I don't have to like you to admit you're talented.
I've loved Pete's
I
work
don't
outside
like
of Doctor Who.
I don't like Russell. I don't like Pete McTighe, but I love Stephen Moffat. What a wonderful man. I love him to bits. What a fantastic guy. Another wonderful man, Mark Gatiss. I love him to bits. Absolutely brilliant man.
It's good to hear you say that. Obviously, and I know that you don't let your personal conflicts with people, do you, interfere with
never.
your responses
when
their creative
at
projects?
the time that Steve Moffat wrote Blink, he wasn't speaking to me. We'd fallen out over something petty. I think it was Gareth Roberts. Anyway, so we were before I had the stroke. We used to go to the Fitzroy Tavern, which is a meeting of Doctor Who fans every week, at a pub called the Fitzroy Tavern in Soho. Not Soho, sort of Soho, yeah. Anyway, he was there and he wasn't speaking to me. I walked up to him and said, Stephen, I know you're not talking to me. I had to tell you, Blink is the most brilliant thing I ever saw. I love it to bits. He turned around and gave me a great big hug and he says, all is forgiven, which was wonderful.
How do you feel? How do you feel about the mode of delivery of the series at the moment? You mentioned the 8 a.m. UK drops. Those are timed to coincide with the same drop over on Disney Plus globally, aren't they?
It's pathetic. Just put it on iPlayer after. Who cares? If you show it on iPlayer after the show, you might have 2.5 million overnights. It's just stupid. You've lost your viewers. The finale, the reality war, is it? That one is going to be out at the same time. That might have higher views because it's not on iPlayer. It'd be very interesting to see that. But let me tell you, it's 2000. It's now, we're talking now, and it's May 2025. Let me tell you, I've never loved Doctor Who as much as I'm loving this season. I cannot fault it, and I absolutely, unreservedly, I praise and rave over the Lucky Day. It's beyond belief. Beyond belief.
That's the standout so far.
For me, Lucky Day, Blink, and Turn Left are the three greatest one-offs of the whole 20 years, 2005 to 2025. They're the three greatest. I wish Russell wasn't against bringing back River Song, the greatest character in modern Who, and Russell just put his foot down and said, never bringing her back.
He said, no more, didn't he? No more.
No more, yeah. Tragic.
What are your instincts about the conclusion of the series then? Because there are rumors that we could get a regeneration in that final episode. Do you think that's likely to happen?
We know he's left, so we're going to. We know he's left. And Disney, I don't think will renew because of the shocking figures last year, because no one, after watching Space Babies, was going to continue to watch it. Nobody. And nothing like, even last year, the 7th episode, the Legend of Ruby Sunday, promised greatness. It built up. It was fantastic, scary, and wonderful. And then came the Empire of Death with a great big fucking stupid CGI dog on a lead being pulled through the TARDIS door through the vortex. It was the absolute dreck. Legend of Ruby Sunday had a potential 8 or 9 out of 10. Empire of Death had a 0 out of 10 for me.
Because statistically, the episode that seemed to cause the most damage was episode 6, which I think was called Rogue.
Oh yes, of course, because it was so overtly gay, and I'm overtly gay. But I don't want to see the Doctor, my hero, kiss a bloke on screen. Imagine William Hartnell kissing a bloke. It's just not Doctor Who. Neither was Paul McGann kissing Grace in the TV movie Enemy Within, which I objected to very strongly at the time.
As chaste as that was, you do wonder, don't you, how in 30 years we've got from a situation like that to the Doctor sexually, aggressively pursuing another person, whether they're male or female.
I didn't mind the bit at all in Lucky Day when Ruby jokes that he said to us, "Has he ever tried anything on me?" He said, "No, he's young, he's tight," which is true. That's fine. A throwaway line like that, but I didn't like. And I love the actor. What, Jonathan Gruffalo? Yeah,
Jonathan Groff. Yeah,
Groff. Yeah, I loved him in that fantastic series. Russell Tovey and Jonathan Groff together were wonderful. Russell Tovey, who of course stars in The War Between the Land and the Sea.
Are you looking forward to that? That's also by Pete McTighe with Russell T Davies co-writing.
The reason I'm not looking forward to it is because they're going to put it out next year in place of any Doctor Who. There won't be any new Doctor Who in 2026. Well, that'll be the poor excuse to replace it. That's what pisses me off. And the fact that we've got no Christmas special this year. And Doctor Who does well at Christmas. And it's wrong. They shouldn't have a gap. It's incompetence. They run the show into the ground.
When something as poor as Joy to the World can still do quite well, and a lot of people watch that, and in my view, it was very low quality, but a lot of people watched it. So it does prove that there's still an audience for it under the right circumstances, and they're not going to follow that up. Well, they can't. They haven't got time to make anything now, even if they wanted to.
Well, wasn't great, but at least it was okay. I didn't hate it. I didn't like it. But that's the deal. I was also meh, you know. They must have written Lucky Day over a year ago. Well, a year and a half ago.
Probably 2 years ago.
Yeah. And for it to be so relevant in the time when Trump has taken over America and is feeding bullshit and lies to people, and they go to believing him. And then the Reform UK are trying to say to get rid of the covered government, put them in, and they'll destroy the NHS, and I'd be dead because I wouldn't have getting cancer treatments.
Isn't it
so
important?
Isn't it fooling their followers like that with the same way that this guy think tank is fooling? I just love it. I just think it's so relevant, so apt.
Ian, isn't it important to acknowledge though that the president was duly and correctly elected through the same process that the other ones were? He hasn't taken control of a country, has he?
I don't believe it for 1 minute. With Musk and with Putin, I don't believe it for 1 minute. I really don't believe it. I think so much has been fixed and twisted. He boasted, I don't want to go political here, but he boasted to his MAGA people, "You don't even need to vote, I'm going to get in."
No, but if we're talking about disinformation, though, the president isn't involved with Vladimir Putin. In fact, he does distance himself, vilify him.
I'm sorry. Let's suppose he was an agent for Putin, and Putin put him in power so that he would destroy America. No one person could go into that job on the 20th of January, and we're now in the, May the what? Today? We're early May, 10th of May, is it? Anyway, we're early May, and in that short, less than 4 months, he's destroyed America, he's destroyed healthcare, he's destroyed the federal government, only someone who was an agent who wanted to destroy America from the inside could have done that. No sane person would have destroyed America like that. He's like exactly that Hitler in Nazi Germany in 1933.
So when you go onto social media and you see Americans seemingly very happy with his first 100 days in office and saying, "Look, I voted for this. I'm fine with it. This is exactly what I wanted," and people accounted it as a successful early presidency. So
maybe because I did. Maybe my preferences have caused me to see the people every day. I see people hating him. I'm seeing nothing but hatred and protest in every city against him. The public in America are paying more for their groceries, more for their gas. They've been lied to and mistreated, and now they can't afford medicine because he's done away with healthcare. The most of America, his approval rating is going down, down, down already. It's proved that 60% of America already hate him.
the opposition was hardly an attractive prospect, though, was it? And that's
I thought
it was the same.
Speeches were brilliant. I loved her speeches. She spoke a lot of sense. She cared about people. She didn't care about himself. All he cares about himself.
But Ian, she was incompetent and talked absolute nonsense.
He went to the Pope's funeral and I dressed up in gold as the Pope. My God, it's sick.
So I haven't seen that. No.
Listen, the way he's getting schools to go his way, it's going to be like the Hitler Youth. It's going to be like the Trump Youth.
See, I have a major problem with Lucky Day conceptually, and I love the first half of it, but I have a huge objection to the conclusions that it reached. I disagree with them on several levels. In my view, it's a fable about the evils of anything that exists outside of the mainstream media, which is certainly everything that we do as independent journalists. And I would have thought that you could, I can see that you agree with but I would have thought you'd relate to some of that.
Trump calls every journalist that says the slightest objective thing fake news, and he's banned most of them from the White House briefings. And he's even prosecuted judges for keep upholding the law, the Constitution. The man is sick scum.
Do you think that the politicization of Doctor Who to this extent is appropriate for the show?
No.
At any time, let alone now.
I did love Lucky Day, and I don't want to talk about Lucky Day anymore. I want to talk about politics anymore.
Well, I did want to ask you one more question. Has your imagination been stimulated at all? And are you asking the questions you mentioned River Song earlier on? Do you feel the same way about Mrs. Flood? Who do you think she's going to be? Where do you think that's going?
I don't know. I'd rather wait and see. She's far more because she's traveled in time. She was in the 1950s in Lux, and because she was in the far distant future in the Well, and because she was a prison warden in Lucky Day, she's traveling backwards and forwards in time. So I don't know what she could be. Tectoon from the horrible Timeless Child. She could be the Rani. I don't know what she could be. I hope she's not Susan. I'll get very angry if she's Susan, because I'm all for bringing Caroline Ford back.
I think a lot of people would agree with that. When they do,
I don't know yet, because we're 4 weeks away. But if she's Susan, I shall smash my TV again. And by the way, I never smash my TV. JNT got this reporter to take me out to Clapham, go and buy a TV out of a shop, put it on the street and stand with a hammer, and he filmed me smashing it. It was all a stunt arranged by JNT. I never smashed my TV. And the idiots like Brian Cagle always use that picture of me smashing the TV to mock me when I was merely conned into doing it as a publicity stunt for JNT. JNT very manipulative. And at that time, I did not want to give up my seat in the production gallery.
You know, my belief has always been that you should own all of those parts of your legend, Ian. I mean, and so given the fact that we haven't yet reached this conclusion of this season, and with the fact that it could be away from the television for a long time, obviously you would think they're going to go away and think about things, Ian.
I don't want it to be away from television for some time. You know, I would tell you something. I know it's never going to happen in a billion years, but if somebody brought me back to consult the scripts, I would have completely refused half of what Russell wrote.
Because Russell has said that it's his hope that it comes back sooner rather than later.
But it shouldn't be going at all. It should not be going at all. Russell's fault for fucking Space Babies. And for Rogue. It should not be going. It should be welcomed with open arms. It makes money for the BBC. No one should consider it going. Shouldn't he be arrested? Russell said when he came back, we're only going down to 8 episodes, but don't complain, because I promise you will have 8 episodes each and every year. And he said that after 2 years, fuck that.
He did say that. He said it takes a while to get the empire in shape.
Years, lots of content. Bollocks you, liar. You fucking barefaced liar. That makes me angry.
It's hard, isn't it, after just 2 years to read a statement like this back?
Bloody hell. Talk about hypocrisy. Give us time, we have plans. And Space Babies ruin it all. And that man on that picture facing us, that man chose to put Space Babies first. That's as delusional as JNT making the Twin Dilemma Colin Baker's first story.
When it does
Delusional. Not able to see past the end of your nose.
when it does return, Ian, what would you do personally next season if it was you?
I would hire a white male actor. Most people want Michael Sheen, but I want that guy who starred, a brilliant guy. He's a bit like Matt Smith, but better. He starred in The Spanish Princess, which was HBO made.
Rory O'Connor.
Rory O'Connor, that's the one. That's him.
Rory O'Connor. Well,
said
I've not come across this guy before.
Oh, he's fucking brilliant. That was the idea. I would take an actor like that who is not a household name, and I would make him the Doctor on the condition that he's signed to guarantee to stay for 5 years, and it will put him in the public limelight like nothing else before. And he's already come to my attention, but he is the best choice for Doctor Who. But I would love Michael Sheen. But anyone like that, to find another Tom Baker type, an unknown, so they didn't want to leave after 2 years and make Hollywood films, has to be tied up for 5 years. Why the hell did they tie Ncuti up for 5 years? What's in their mind?
It seems to me that they wanted to work with him personally so much. They were almost willing to let him dictate terms.
Yeah, but why didn't they tie Christopher Eccleston up? It's stupidity. And the thing about Ncuti in Sex Education is the same person as Ncuti as Doctor Who. I saw at the end of Saturday's episode a side of him that I liked. That was for the first time he was the Doctor. That ending with him talking to the Connor.
Oh, when he appears sort of all dressed in white, and it's beautifully shot.
You're not going to agree with me because you don't hate Connor for the reasons I hate him.
Well, I agree with you in some respects. I thought it was really well made. I thought the acting, particularly from the guest star, was sensational.
Yeah, he's sensational. I told you, he started the tattoo. He is the tattooist of Auschwitz. He is the star because he plays the tattooist. It's all down to talent. Ncuti is not Doctor Who. He's not good enough.
But do you think it would be ideal if they could persevere with this actor and give him a bit more time for the public to fall in love with him, or is that opportunity now just completely slid away?
Ncuti? No, I want to go back to a white Doctor because it's traditional. I want to go back to a new Tom Baker.
Do you think that that's what the general public would respond to?
I want to go back to Rory. What's his name? What was
Rory O'Connor?
Rory O'Connor. That's what I want to go back to. I want him. He will combine the elements of Matt Smith and David Tennant into one. That's how good he is.
It's good to know that the series can still engage you in this way, Ian, because I know
it does. I don't want it to stop here. I want either Disney to renew it or Amazon to take it. I don't want the gap year. I want next year, 2026, to have at least 8 to 10 episodes of Doctor Who. I don't want a gap year. I certainly don't want 2 gap years. Fuck that.
At least you've got plenty.
Gross mishandling of the show by the BBC. Gross mishandling.
Do you think they've prioritised the international market too much and the idea of making it globally and having it level up to those Star Wars shows?
Disney were all ready to push it. They had subway trains painted with it on New York. They had bus stops covered with it in coasters in LA. They really pushed it. And then what did they get? Space babies. Chimney was a disaster. Praxeus on Planet 55 and all that crap. A disaster. And last year, Russell T Davies was equally a disaster. But this year's has been fantastic so far. I've been very happily surprised to love it. And I unreservedly love it. And therefore, would mourn the loss of next year's Doctor Who even more. More than the loss of a Christmas special. They could still cast someone and make a Christmas special now. They could if Russell wasn't so stubborn.
Yeah, the window is closing.
We're in May. They can film it in 3 weeks. You know, all this bullshit about all the special effects and everything. Doctor Who's is best when it's claustrophobic, like Midnight. Doesn't need loads of stuff spent on it. Just needs to be a great script. Russell wrote Midnight. He knows what a great script is.
Well, if they can't make it in 3 weeks, Ian, I know for a fact that you almost certainly could do.
I could, but
You
nobody's going to. Come on, I'm in my early 70s. Nobody's going to let me near Doctor Who, not even as a consultant. I wish they would, because I'd bloody bring it back to 10 million.
I certainly agree that we're in the situation we're in now, Ian, because of a prolonged series of bad decisions rather than just a couple either recently
Right.
or whenever. Let's go back and reconnect with the project that you started well over a year ago now to reconstruct the episodes missing from the archives.
I thought about it for a long time. It actually started in January 2024. So they've been making them for a year and 5 months now.
When we first started talking, Ian, you had these hopes for the project, and your kind of wildest dreams would be that you would be able to recreate all of those missing episodes. But you thought it was a long shot. But here you are.
Done it.
It's happened. Congratulations.
I raised the money by selling off stuff that I shouldn't have sold off that will now make it difficult for me to survive in the future, and by people generously donating. A lot of people have only been able to give me 10 or 20 pounds. There are certain people, brilliant people, who've helped so much. They've got out of the way to help me and to support this. Because without their bit, I couldn't have made all 97. I would have probably got to 70 or 80 and run out of money. But with their contribution, I got all of them done. We know the BBC are not happy about me at all. And the lying trolls have reported me to them for selling these, charging people money to see them, which is not true. I've never done. It's just that there's a very private group for people who contributed towards them. I would love to be able to show them to everybody. I would love to. The BBC won't let me. And I think they kind of respect I've kept them quiet. But the massive vendetta of letter writing to the BBC, accusing me of charging people to see them, that's done horrible.
Because it's a set of individuals, isn't it, that are persistent, they're very militant in dogging your work.
10 people who've gone purple in the face, screaming and shouting about me, making videos about me. Now, Brian Cagle made 2 videos about me that were so breaching copyright that I managed to get them taken down. He's got 2 strikes against him on YouTube. If he makes one more thing that I can prove is illegal or breaching copyright, then he gets 3 strikes and he's banned.
This has got to be not just great news for publicizing your work, but a great boon to you personally as well. The fact that the New York Post, this is America's oldest newspaper. It's been around since 1801.
Yes, but the damage is, as good as that was, all the more furious to stir up and revamp the letter writing campaign. So now the BBC is very angry with me over these letters.
Because the New York Post have published a full-page article all about you.
They went. The guy who was the editor of the New York Post is a big Doctor Who fan. It was a genuine article. He came to me.
Really?
He went to the BBC and he asked for comment on it. And they actually said no comment. But it's funny now they're writing to me complaining about fans actually complaining that I'm charging them money to watch Doctor Who, which nothing can be further than the truth. Everyone who's voluntarily contributed, everybody has loved what they've got. I've had not one complaint from anybody, not one. It now means I'm now going to have to wind it down slowly and take less contributions in case it causes more trouble and end up in court with the BBC.
As a result of this article with the New York Post, have you had any other people reach out to you who maybe weren't aware of what you'd done?
No. That's what's worrying. I thought there would have been, but no. You've got to understand so much toxicity out there about how bad it is to use AI to make them. People won't watch them because they're against AI, because AI does have its faults. I mean, its abuses. And because of that, AI also has its beneficial uses, like making the missing Doctor Who's. But because of people's animosity towards AI, they won't even watch them. Or they do what someone did with the Highlanders Part 1. They sit there with a fine-tooth comb going through the episode, trying to find one frame. There's one frame by the cannon where the tragic Troughton doctor, the AI slightly dissolves his face. It looks almost Japanese. Just for literally less than half a second. But they went through a whole episode to find that one frame, to put it onto Twitter and stuff, and say, how dare Ian Levine do this to Doctor Who? You know what I mean? They're looking for trouble. You know, the oldest, like in 1971, if we want to look for trouble, go to Terror of the Autons and pick out the bad CSO where the edges of the phone box were all fringed. Well, we didn't, and now it's been improved. But, you know, we took it as one of those things we love about Doctor Who, just to get the show on the air. My AI recreations may not be 100% perfect. They're bloody close to what's transmitted. They really fill the gaps in. But not, again, I think your previous podcasts have made more people aware of them than the New York Post. Of course, there's no way the New York Post doesn't even tell anybody how to get in touch with me, or that I've got a Facebook group page. If you said the Ian Levine group, Doctor Who group on Facebook, people might have found it, but it gave people no way to find me.
In this article, they do very much celebrate you and portray you in a heroic way.
Yes, I agree. I just wish more people had done something about it. But I've got to be very careful now. If the BBC think I'm charging people to see them, which I'm not, I've got to be very careful. I'm willing to go to court and fight them and defend myself. I want to speak up and tell them all the money I made for them in the past and how I saved them from being destroyed, and how the few that they did destroy willfully, I've now managed to recreate, and how badly they're treating me. It's all pettiness and sheer hypocrisy.
Obviously, you used your own notes from way back in the day when they were originally broadcast.
There they are. There are 6 of the 39 books. There they are.
That was integral to your efforts to recreate them using AI. And,
of course, because I scribble while watching the TV show on notes, then I transcribe them neatly.
Since we last spoke, another frustration of yours was that of your time as an unofficial consultant on the show there, where your name wasn't even on the credits. You felt that a sadness, didn't you? That there weren't any photographs, not so much evidence as much as mementos of your time working unofficially on the show.
Somebody found me a great photo of me and J&T and Gary Downey.
Who was this? Who reached out to you with this?
Julian Knott.
Okay,
Julian Knott, a long-term Doctor Who fan. He sent me a photo of me and J&T and Gary Downey. There you go. J&T on the left, Gary Downey next, then me, then Fiona Cumming, and Fiona Cumming's husband, Ian Fraser, who used to be a Doctor Who production assistant. So 5 Doctor Who people: J&T, Gary Downey, me, Fiona Cumming, and Ian Fraser.
Do you remember this day, Ian? Where were you?
Yeah, it was on the balcony in Panopticon, Brighton, I think.
Because you're kind of looking at the camera, or just off to where the camera is.
No, there wasn't a camera. They were down on the floor thing. You know, I don't know how.
Yeah.
Wasn't anyone near to us. I didn't know the photo was taken. In the thing imaging, the New York Post article, and then I was accused. I gave them 100 photos to choose from, 100. Okay. It was then accused of not crediting Julian Knott, which I'm sorry, I didn't mean not to. I didn't know they were going to use that photo. It's just in a folder, 100 Doctor Who photos with me on them. With me, Nick Courtney, me and Liz Sladen, me and John Pertwee, you know, me and Peter Davison, and just picture of me with everybody, me with Janet Fielding, just everybody. But there was one of the photos in there. I'm sorry, Julian, I apologise. But I think the way the trolls turned on me saying how he didn't even credit the guy, I hope Julian isn't upset over that. If you are, Julian, I apologise. I'm genuinely sorry.
That article does represent, doesn't it, an acknowledgement from a broader media in your efforts.
By a Doctor Who fan, Mark Lungarello, yes. That's the one. He's a Doctor Who fan. He's the editor of the New York Post. I love him to bits.
I think this is absolutely fantastic. And
I think the man gave me some verisimilitude. He corroborated my name, but in return, causing the haters to write recently so much to the BBC that I get a letter accusing me of charging people to watch my episodes, which is a lie. I have never done and never would do. And the reason they get frustrated is that now keep those private groups so private, so low key, no one can get to see them and they don't leak. At the end of the day, Doctor Who is BBC copyright. But as a fan who's saved all the old episodes, I believe it's my right to make the missing ones, because they're not making them. If they're making them, they wouldn't have made shit like Celestial Toymaker and the Underwater Menace and the Savages. They're utter foul crap. Why should I have to suffer that? Why should that be the only option to watch the missing Doctor Who's? No. So I said, no, enough. I'm going to make them myself, and I did.
Tell me something of
to look and sound like they did.
Tell me something of the pride that you feel in having achieved this, and in such a short period of time, and and at a time where you faced considerable personal distress and challenges with the health that you talk about. You must be incredibly proud, not just of yourself, but of the people you've worked with.
I'm proud to making notes and comments on days when I felt like I couldn't even get out of bed, when I felt so ill, when I was aching in pain. The whole inside of my nose was burning from the radiation. The roof of my mouth was one set of ulcers. I couldn't swallow and I couldn't eat any solid food for 6 to 8 weeks. My whole day got me getting up dizzy with vertigo. Home to my office, have a bowl of soup, which I could swallow, and then I didn't want to eat anything else. I didn't feel like eating anything else all day. An occasional milkshake, my ice cream milkshake, but that made me feel sick. Couldn't hold anything down. I just felt ghastly from this brutal radiotherapy. And what ploughed me on is that was the time, particularly when we were doing Power of the Daleks. I was making notes. The guy was making an episode a week, and over those 6 weeks, I was making loads of notes to him. And he got better and better. He's brilliant. Better and better. In the end, one of the Gallifrey episodes, which is what is most recently done, Gallifrey Part 5, came to me with not one single fault. Not one. From start to finish, it was flawless. I didn't have to change a thing. These people are not Doctor Who fans, so they pick things up, but they're not like me. So faults were inevitable. And in Part 6, he had about probably 15 to 20 faults, which is nothing bad. You have to expect it. One guy's from Bangladesh who's doing one for me at the moment from an audio, and he doesn't understand what the TARDIS looks like, or the TARDIS doors only open inwards, not outwards. You have to explain all this to people. A Dalek flies down from the sky and it's going backwards. All those things I have to do with every day. And as I've got 11 or 12 people at once making them, it's a hell of a lot of time taken. And when you feel like shit, but I did it. I did it. I'm proud of that. But they'll never be perfect, because what we can do now is very different to what we did in January of 2024, which is why I redid 3 of the Master Plan episodes. I redid Part 1, Part 3, and Part 11. Which is why I've redone the entire Massacre, all 4 parts, which is why I've done the entire Savages, all 4 parts, right now we're doing the entire Fury from the Deep, all 6 parts, because we can make them look much better. People, what's his name? Benjamin Cook, slagging me off to pieces with that first ever Dalek Master Plan episode. They were our first attempts. They were good and enjoyable, but now they're much better. And I can see that if we want to improve them, we will. That's why we're redoing Fury from the Deep, because that was over a year ago. And I think we're getting much better, much darker, more sinister.
Did Ben get in touch with you? Because obviously he was partly responsible, wasn't he, for the 2 colorized Doctor Who's over the last couple of years? That's also an enhancement of classic Doctor Who in a different way.
I hate him. He hates me.
Oh, okay.
And what he did with the War Games is tragic. I like the colorization. I'm not objecting to that. Rich Tipple, he's very good. I'm not objecting to the colouring. I'm objecting to the butchering with a cleaver Benjamin Cook does, who doesn't understand how to edit.
Yeah, whereas
I could have done it so much better and retained its humility and its integrity without chopping it all out.
Because one of the guiding principles that you use, isn't it, that nothing ever gets cut.
Yeah, I know, and that's my thing. Yeah, but which is why I put together those deleted scene versions, like Vengeance on Varos, which I was very proud of when they used my footage to make a assembled version of the Blu-ray box set. But they couldn't have had it if I hadn't illegally saved at the time. J&T wouldn't let any of his footage out. He was paranoid to wipe over the VHS viewing tapes before he would let them out. So Ron Jones, knowing this, wanted to give me a copy of his work before it was edited, 71 edits, and came round to my house with a tape because he knew I was trying to preserve them for history. And I did. All his, like Mind Warp and Black Orchid and Vengeance on Varos, all given to me, and Time Flight. I've got every bit of footage from Time Flight, every bit of studio footage. All of those were destroyed by the BBC, but I got them and I gave them back willingly. I gave them back freely, never asked for a penny.
Because the Blu-ray range of box sets, they are a combination of efforts, aren't they, by a lot of people, a lot of experts in their field, but without your material.
Look at box 2. It's got 2 missing episodes of The Crusade in it. They haven't done any attempt other than just a still freeze-frame picture recon. That's all, just like a slideshow. They haven't done any attempt for Crusade 1 and 3. Yeah, sorry, 2 and 4. 2 and 4. Right, but I know, you know, I'm not going to tell you online. I wouldn't dare breach the confidence, but I know what the next 3 box sets are.
So I've heard it's, hang on, 21, 16, and 11.
That's 3. Well, I said I know the next 4.
You know, you're not disagreeing with me then, so you probably heard the same thing.
I am disagreeing with you. I am.
Okay.
I'm not saying the numbers you said are in there, but I'm saying they're certainly not in that order. The order is 4 colors. I know exactly what they are and in what order. Exactly what they are. Russell Minton busts his balls to say to all these people, I don't want Ian Levine to find out. But I know before anybody. I knew 3 months before Derek what the next one is. I was the one that told him and Ed. I told him. He didn't know.
Really?
Yeah, really. I've got very good.
Ed Stradling didn't know until after you.
I told him. You haven't. All the ones you said are not in the remote order. You didn't even mention the next one.
Oh, that's fascinating. Well, I won't push you on that. But do you still enjoy these box sets? Because it's been a while since we've heard anything officially of what's next, isn't it? You know, my patience wears a little thin. I need to add a new one to my shelf.
Russell Minton thinks it's clever to keep people waiting, and it's ridiculous. It's just not true. It's not necessary. I think you should advance them well in advance. The next 4 will be all of them will be popular, but none of them include the black and white ones. And they're holding back so Paul Henry can make more cartoons which don't look anything like the original.
It does seem a pity, doesn't it, that we're now 7 years into this line of releases.
If they took all of mine, did a bit of work to them, changed the bits they didn't like, you know, I'd be so reasonable with them and put them on there. Everybody would be happy, and all the trolls could fuck off and shut up because the fans would love them. But they won't do it. They won't look. Russell Minton stated he won't even look at them. He won't even look at them.
I, for one, prefer your...
Be objective if you're the head of the range. How can you be objective if you won't look at them? Some of them are utterly unbearable dross. Abominable Snowmen, The Fury from the Deep, and especially Celestial Toymaker. Mrs. Wiggs is a Tico's. The booth in the first By Mama's Buff game is a yellow car riding upside down across the screen. Joey the Clown jumps across the rope and ends up on the ceiling. Oh my God, what have they done? And that's what really, really finally, above nothing else, made me sell my royalties and raise the money. Just enough is enough. I'm not going to sit here and be tormented and abused by the show that I've loved all my life and grown up with. Remember, it's 62 years since I first saw the first episode, and I wrote every episode down straight away. I loved it that much. It had that much effect on me from 1963 to 2025. I love the show unreservedly. I've done everything I can to preserve the show, and I don't like what's going on now with Russell, trying to politicize it, although I do like this current season. But what I'd like the least is the fact that it looks like more than likely we're going to have another gap year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Please, God, don't let it be a gap year till I'm dead. Because let's face it, after cancer and 2 cancers and a stroke, my odds of living to old age are not great, are they? You know, if I was to die tomorrow, at least I did all 97 episodes. We finished Gallifrey. I've got to finish Yellow Fever. I've got to, which we're working on at the moment.
So for the people who can't remember, what are Gallifrey and Yellow Fever? Because there could be people out there who don't know.
There was Doctor Who was cancelled by Jonathan Powell and Michael Grade, and was cancelled. And then we made such a stink. I was on News at 1, sorry, and we made Doctor in Distress and all that stuff. It was such a stink that Bill Cotton was forced to backtrack and say Doctor Who will be back after an 18-month gap. Hence, 18 months is too long to wait. When Greg cancelled it, it was no 18-month gap. Him and Powell both admitted on video that was a lie and it was cancelled. But we made such a stink that they brought it back. So the whole season 23 was planned, already scripted, directors hired and everything. Nightmare Fair, Nightmare Fair, The Ultimate Evil, Mission to Magnus, Yellow Fever, The Hollows of Time, and Gallifrey. Because Eric told me, Children of January, he was never going to make it. Was J&T insisted there be a script in place, so it was. So the last minute, Eric was saying to J&T, I can't make it work. I'm going to write one myself, which was Gallifrey, which he had planned in his head, which he discussed with Robert Holmes. He told Robert, give me some ideas of what to do. Robert Holmes said, do what I did. Go back to Deadly Assassin on Gallifrey and use the Manchurian Candidate, which I wanted to use but never did, about sleeper agents all over the capital, which is what Gallifrey is about. You saw Julian Glover, Milton Johns, John Leeson, Waris Hussein, the best cast you've ever seen. Peter Miles, the incredible cast. Dinah Sheridan's daughter, playing Dinah Sheridan, was her daughter Jenny Hanley, because she was very frail. But Dinah Sheridan actually read the prologue in the sequel, which was The Eight Doctors, which Terence Dix wrote. Anyway.
This was the one. I'd heard of all the others apart from Gallifrey. So when you started telling me about it, I was transfixed.
Gallifrey was to be the 6th story instead of the Children of January, which never had a hope of being made. Now, Michael Feeney Cannon wrote the script of Children of January. Apparently, he finished the script and he tried to send it to Big Finish, but he wanted too much money, I'm told, and they refused it. So if I'd had his script, I would have actually made it anyway, like I made Yellow Fever and Gallifrey.
What's the status of your Gallifrey production?
Finish.
It's all finished.
It's there on all my contributor groups. It's there. All
so
6
there's 6.
Any contributor can go onto the contributors group and watch all 6 parts now. It's finished.
And for people who are interested in joining your community, obviously you do have a screening process, don't you? A team of admins there. What would you advise? Because there could be people who are hearing about this for the first time. What would you advise they do?
Anyone could join my main group, the Ian Levine Doctor Who group on Facebook. Anybody can type that in. The Ian Levine Doctor Who group on Facebook. You can find that. You can join that. That's actually got 27 episodes on it. So anyone can join that, would see a teaser of the others, but nobody can get in the contributors group which has got 140 episodes in it, unless they've contributed. I'm not charging you. If you contribute, I'll let you in, but I'm not charging you. I'm making sure you understand only a voluntary donation given freely will get you in. If you want to join that, email me on Ian Levine Doctor Who, all one word, IANLEVINE Doctor Who, all one word, at yahoo.com.
We last spoke, you mentioned a project which really did take me by surprise, Ian. You spoke of a dream project, an ambition that you'd had for literally decades, concerning nothing to do with Doctor Who at all, more a work of literature.
It's got one hell of a lot. It's got one hell of a lot to do with Doctor Who because it's full of Doctor Who actors.
Well,
It's
your adaptation is.
over half. No, in 1996, I did the script way back then. I wanted to film on home video cameras, my own Alice in Wonderland, with Sony DV cameras, digital high quality copy, and edit it. I wanted to use a lot of my family in it. There was a woman called Bryna Richmond who was 1908. So she was 88 at the time. So I wanted to, she was an actress. She used to played Jewish theatre and stuff. I wanted her to be the Duchess. She was so like the Duchess. So I kind of wrote it for her. And I had planned to make it, go out on location, find houses, old houses on location and stuff, and film it all ourselves, which would have taken a lot of resources and cost a lot of money. But that was my plan then. And I did the script back then and never found a way to afford to do it until the Doctor Who AIs told me, hang on, you can do this as well. So I needed investors. I found a couple of people in our family willing to put a bit in. So far, I've spent I tapped myself out with the Doctor Who, so I've got no money left. I've managed so far to do something wonderful. We've recorded the script with lots of Doctor Who actors. We've got John Leeson, who of course is K9, playing several parts. He plays the caterpillar, he plays the pelican, and he plays something else. Wonderful, and absolutely wonderful.
I bet he savoured every moment of it for all those characters as well.
Yeah, more than that, Daniel Hill, it was Chris Parsons in Sharda, the young Chris, the one who took the book. Oh my God, his Mad Hatter has to be heard to be believed. It's like the original has just got this sort of slightly sarcastic character. And in this one, he's looking at Alice while sipping his tea. He goes, "Your head is cutting!" Like that. Just incredible. Just incredible performance. And he played the Griffin. He played about 3 or 4 parts. Then Nicola Bryant came in. She played several parts. First of all, she plays the pigeon, who is trying to bite Alice's face because Alice has grown a long neck and she thinks she's a serpent. Then she plays Alice's sister on the riverbank, who's reading the book. And at the end, Alice goes in for tea and the sister creates the end of the film. And then she played the duck, which is wonderful. She played the duck like a duck. She played it like Donald Duck. She's brilliant. I never knew. I've known her all this time since she was first cast as Perry. Because I was friends with her with JNT. I never knew in all 85, 90, in 40 years, I never knew she was that versatile an actress. She is staggering. Nigel Plaskett, who is Unstoff in Gavin Unstoff in the Rebus operation. You remember?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, Unstoff, So he plays the King of Hearts. He also plays some other characters, which is small bits, but the King of Hearts is brilliant at it. With very, very fuzzy, exactly like what you want him to play. But the pièce de résistance has to be Shirley Cooklin's Queen of Hearts. She's 95 years old. 95 years old. And she just, I'll tell you how, she also does the prologue as well. But she's brutal and sadistic. She says, "Off with his head. I want to see his head congealed in its own blood, stuck on a spike outside my palace. I want to watch his head rot while the ravens poke his eyes out." She just took to it. She's brilliant. She, of course, to those who don't know, was Kaftan in The Tomb of the Cybermen, and she was married to Peter Brown, the producer. And therefore, on the Friday when they recorded every week, after having rehearsed for 4 days, the studio was the Friday, in Trouters Day, she was there on set. She made canapes and brought them round for all the actors. Little kind of chicken kebab bits on sticks. And she made them for all the actors herself, and she knew all the actors. The funny thing was in Tomb of the Cybermen, because of course Fraser Hines knew her from being there every week, when she's all dolled up with this huge beehive thing and all the massive eyelashes, playing an Egyptian character, as Kaftan. Fraser walked up to her and tried to chat her up. He says, "Fraser, it's me, Cheryl." I went, "Oh my God." That's a very funny story. Fraser didn't recognize her in makeup.
He's incorrigible.
Anyway, the whole point of Alice in
Well-
Wonderland was to do it with Doctor Who actors. I wanted Milton Johns. I tried everything. I got him hold of his daughter and reason with him, but she wouldn't let him do it. His Alzheimer's too progressed. She wouldn't even let him. I offered to go to their house and read. I'm sure he could have done it. He's reading off a page, but she wouldn't let him. So no Milton Johns.
I was startled when you told me about your plan to adapt Alice in Wonderland. I wouldn't have been able to. I'd have been guessing all night if you'd asked me to guess what this project was going to be.
All my life. Again, like Doctor Who affected me at 10. But Alice in Wonderland got me from about 6 years old. It just grabbed my imagination because the book is nothing like any film that's ever been made of it. The book is quite dark and slightly sinister. And the Disney cartoon version and the Cary Grant 1933 version and the silent 1915 version, which is on YouTube if you want to watch it, they're all very jolly and silly and kiddie. It's always been a musical and it's been hateful and never ever got it right. And I believe we got it right. I've got brilliant actors and we've animated I've got a guy in New York called Harry James who'd done the character designs like Alice and the Mad Hatter and everything. He created the designs, which are all on that poster you've shown. You know, I paid quite handsomely because they're done by hand. They're not photo, but they look photographic, like photorealistic, not like a cartoon. If you want a little secret, we based a face on Joan Young from The Massacre, the Queen Catherine de Medici, the Queen Mother. We kind of based her slightly on that. That's a brilliant Queen of Hearts. That's so good. The White Rabbit there, you got the Mock Turtle, you've got the Fish Frogman, you've got Nicola Brown's duck, and the mouse. There's some slight change we made. The Ace of Hearts. Look at him. Look at that, like a Gothic executioner with the Ace of Spades. Not Ace of Hearts, Ace of Spades. Look at it. Can you see him?
He's got dead eyes, isn't he?
And look at the axe dripping with blood. When she says off with his head, she means it. We didn't miss anything from the book. We used every bit of dialogue, every bit, but embellished with a bit further. And she boasts about sticking these heads on the spikes and then having the bodies fertilize her roses.
Ian, I can hear the relish in your voice. I can only imagine how the actors responded to this material. Were they surprised by this production?
They loved it, all of them. I've got quite a few Doctor Who fans who are in it who will love it as well. Stephen Cranford, Leighton Haberfield, Phil Fairfield. Those three are all big Doctor Who fans in it. And trying to think who else. There's just
Anthony Weiner? Anthony Weiner?
No, he didn't want to do it.
Oh, he's not in this one.
I did offer it to him. But they're so great, what we have got. Russell Cook, he's the one.
Russell Cook. How long did it take you to record?
4 days. 4 long days. We couldn't record in order because people weren't available on certain days. So on the first day, we had to have Shirley Cooklin to be brought by private car from Chichester to our studio, which is in Chorleywood, west of London, in Hertfordshire. And then she had to record all the parts, and we had to have her taken home again. On the same day, we also had Rachel Gaffin, who's the Duchess. Rachel is a Jewish comedian you'll see on BBC Sunday mornings. BBC One this morning on a Sunday. She appears on it most weeks. She's got a bandana on her head. She's a very funny Jewish comedian. She plays the Duchess. She plays a brilliant, like an old oy vey, like an old fetching. She's just perfect. Perfect. An actress called Rachel Gaffin is Alice, relatively unknown. But when she did one of the Doctor Who's for me, her voice is almost childlike, like a young girl. And I said, you'd be perfect for Alice, which she is. But Stephen Cranford's the narrator. Stephen Cranford's a BBC radio presenter from Brighton, and he also he's the presenter of all the Dwas things in Hammersmith. He's the compere for them all. He starts out as Lewis Carroll, with Lewis Carroll's face speaking at the beginning as Lewis Carroll, and as he speaks, it merges into the fiction, the fantasy. He starts off telling the 3 little girls about the story, which is true. That's our brilliance of AI. That is taken from a real Victorian photo of Lewis Carroll and Victorian photos of the 3 sisters. And look at it, looks like it was taken yesterday.
I'll have to go and look Lewis Carroll up now, because I did wonder who that was. I mean, I suspected that AI must have been involved somewhere, but to me, that looks like a genuine person.
It is Lewis Carroll. It is.
Yeah.
That's the point. It is Lewis Carroll and Alice, Mary, and Lorena Little. That's where they are. They're from real pictures. Because you've got to understand that Lewis Carroll was an early photographer. About 1950, when photography was in its infancy, he built a camera and learned how to master it. So he took thousands of pictures in his lifetime, including naked pictures of Alice, because he was known to be a paedophile.
Is that common knowledge?
I think so. It's all the beginning of my story. It's what makes it extra dark. And you shouldn't have taken photographs of a 14-year-old girl naked.
The imagery that we've got, that you've allowed to be seen, is very idiosyncratic, full
Absolutely.
of foreboding.
Anyway, I formed a group, Alice in Wonderland 2025. Anybody can join it. You can see all the images on there and a 6-minute clip on there, which is unlisted on YouTube. Anybody in the world can join the group on Facebook, Alice in Wonderland 2025. Free to join. There's no problem. You can see everything.
And this is the clip that you want us to take a quick look at now, don't you? A quick excerpt from.
Yeah. That's because there isn't any.
Then it wasn't very civil of you to offer it.
It wasn't very civil of you to sit down without first being invited.
I didn't know it was your table. It's laid for a great many more than 3.
The Mad Hatter has been looking at Alice for some time now with great curiosity and puzzlement.
Your hair wants cutting.
You should learn not to make personal remarks. It's very rude.
Why is a raven like a writing desk?
Come, we shall have some fun now. I'm glad they've begun asking riddles. I believe I can guess that.
Do you mean that you think you can find out the answer to it?
Exactly so.
Then you should say what you mean.
I do. At least I mean what I say. That's the same thing, you know.
Well, it's not the same thing a bit. You might just as well say that I see what I eat. It's the same thing as I eat what I see.
You might just as well say that I like what I get is the same thing as I get what I like.
I say that I move when I dance is the same thing as I dance when I move.
But I just as well say that I breathe when I sleep is the same thing as I sleep when I breathe.
It is the same thing to you.
It's not the same thing at all. I love that. That's Daniel Hill excelling himself, chewing the scenery, the acting is incredible. Very few things, other than Doctor Who, give actors a chance to be so over the top as this. I had to say, your hair wants cutting, and the Queen of Hearts saying, I want to see your head dripping with blood on the spikes outside my palace. Off with his head. Off with her head. Off with everybody's head. Just how else can you be so over the top? And it works.
So you spent 4 days recording this with an assortment of Doctor Who luminaries and other actors and figures and people that you like and love.
Yeah,
so we finished.
We could have made the dialogue artificial by using AI. You can now, but it would not have had that personal. It had to be a proper performance for me. Had to be the proper real people's vocals, and only the characters be animated. Nowhere in history is any. No, you tell me. Have you ever seen anything like that before? Ever?
No, genuinely no.
Compare it to Tim Burton's piece of shit effort. Awful, awful. Nothing to do with Alice in Wonderland.
I didn't like that either.
I like the Disney version because it's fun and it's happy and it's jolly, but it's not like that. That's moody. Anyway, if anybody watching wants to chip some money in, I'm offering up for sale 50% of all the ownership, pro rata. Some people have already put in, but there's still slots available for $2 or $3 grand each to make up the 50. But then again, all my fans are going to say Ian Levine went on Dan's show begging for money to fund his wretched Alice in Wonderland. I can see it now. All I'm saying is anyone wants to chip in, I'm very open-minded to, because I believe we will get this on Netflix or Amazon. I believe it certainly is good enough. It looks like it's had far more money spent on it. It looks $1 million to me. And the movement and the attitude of the character is photorealistic. It's not cartoony in any way. It does not look like a cartoon. Would you agree with that?
Oh no, definitely not. I mean, I was going to ask you what your ambitions were for it to be seen by a far wider range of people than by Doctor Who fans.
Too much. It can't be a film because too much. We want to do it to the book. That's why the films. Every film's missed out the Duchess, for instance. Every film's missed out the so many bits that they missed out, and the bit going back into the tree and go back to the original Hall of Doors, all missed out. Anyway, I wanted everything in mind. So which makes it 4 1 hours. It's a mini series, 4 exact 1 hour slots. Been timed perfectly. It's 4 times 59 minutes. So it fits exactly in our slot for Netflix or for Amazon. If they don't take it, we will stream it ourselves through iTunes. And if they don't take it, we'll press up Blu-rays ourselves. And because the narrator narrates it, can also be an audio CD. And it could be a children's colour book using the images we've created as glossy images alongside our script. Because of Alice in Wonderland, written by Lewis Carroll, is public domain, being 160 years old. Our script, written by me and Andrew Pritchard, is our copyright. It's our absolute copyright. We own that. Just so we own these characterizations. We own them. The beginning opening 2 minutes is going to be a brilliant montage of colorized versions of the John Tenniel original drawings from the book, all of which have formed the basis of our characters. All of them look like they should look. Not like this, Disney's Queen of Hearts looks totally wrong for what the Queen of Hearts should look. Yeah, I mean, that's what we've done. Look at the poster of ours and look at the Mock Turtle, and that's right. The art we've based us on those. That's
extraordinary. And it's still for a family audience as well, Ian.
Well, it's not for kids. There's too much bloodthirsty stuff in it. Too much dialogue about, Queen of Hearts is really lapping it up, all this bloodthirsty stuff.
As always, there'll be links to everywhere you're sending us in the description to the video and any show notes that we put out so that people can get involved and support this project.
We won't lose on it. The group's already got about 300 members, and that's in a week. And they're just casual fans. I think when people know they can look at that whole 6-minute clip, all they're going to do is go to Alice in Wonderland 2025, and you shouldn't be able to see it unless you're joining. But joining's free, and if you don't like it, you can leave again. I think at least you get to see my 6-minute clip, which I'm very proud of.
Yeah, because when I saw that you'd completed the missing episodes of Doctor Who, I thought, well, I know that Ian's got these other projects that he wants to get onto.
We've done enough with having a poster of the characters and having 6 minutes of animation to prove to people what we've done. I believe that. And then all my arch enemies are going to say he's just using it as a con. And they've already started saying, I con people out of Doctor Who money to pay for this. They've already started. Can you believe it? Somebody managed to get on a fake troll, put on Alice in Wonderland's site, put a post up saying, don't give a penny to Ian Levine. He's taken your Doctor Who money and used it to make this. I haven't used one single penny of my Doctor Who money to use this. The contributors of Doctor Who have only paid for 20% of the rest. So how could I have used that when I've been paying for it myself? This is the trouble. People talk shit and the BBC hear about it and they'll listen. They don't realise the agenda these people have got to cause trouble. They don't understand the internet spews forth these internet warriors and these horrible keyboard warriors who will just pick holes in what everybody else is. All these Doctor Who fans, like Brian Cagle, sitting back, look at what Levine's done. It's hateful, but they've never done anything themselves. What have they ever done? When they've got off their arse. If I'd got off my fucking arse and saved 150 episodes from being junk, you wouldn't have them now. Similar, if you hadn't got off my arse and recreated these missing Doctor Who's, all you'd have to watch is the bloody stupid cartoons with great big frogs of seaweed coming out of the sea trying to grab the helicopter. Pathetic. Nothing to do with what was ever filmed. Padma Samovar looking like a Scooby-Doo ghost.
So have your cast seeing this 6-minute preview, and what do they think? Is it beyond what
Oh,
they
they're
imagine?
in love with it. They're in love with it. Daniel Hill says I'm a genius. They're in love with it. Everybody that's seen it, everybody likes it. At least, please give me the benefit of the doubt. Go to Facebook, type in Alice in Wonderland 2025, get the group up, join for a second, watch the 6-minute clip, and remain in the group by all means. But if you want to leave, leave. But if you watch it, do not think I've done a good job. At least go and watch it. Give me the benefit of the doubt. Don't listen to the trolls. Don't listen to the spiteful cockroach haters. Just give me the benefit of the doubt and look at it. Tell me I haven't done something artistically good here. And found the most beneficial use of AI possible. Not by making the voices, all the voices are real human voices, but by animating the hand-drawn characters. John Leeson and Nigel Plaskett, they really rose to the... And Nicola Bryant, of all, the whole studio stood up and applauded Nicola Bryant. Stood up. She got a standing ovation because she was staggering.
It sounds unmissable.
The duck is unmissable. Should have played the bit of the duck.
To think, Ian, that all of this sort of started with Doctor Who all the way back in 1963 for you. This lifelong journey, all these frustrations, but so many high points as well. We've touched on the latest set on this edition of the show, and it's been great to reconnect with you and find out not only how you are, because I know you've really been through it, Ian, and you have our admiration, respect,
I've really been through it. Not only have I really been through it, but I don't know how safe my odds are. I was given my odds at 50-50. I might survive. If I survive, if I can live another 10 years, can I, with all my illnesses? Am I able to withstand another 10 years, having had cancer twice, 2 different kinds, and having had a stroke and sepsis? My life has been at risk several times. I want to live another 10 years. I want to. I'd like nothing more than to reach 90, like Shirley Cookley. I don't think I'm going to. At least I hope to be here for the rest of this year. And to all my friends out there, get in touch with me. I want you to come to my birthday party on Sunday, June the 22nd in Bushy in Hertfordshire. I want you to come to that. Get in touch with me. I'm obviously not going to give the location out on the air, obviously. Imagine the trolls turning up and booing me. Can you imagine? I think that I'm so in love with the new series this year, which I wasn't last year. And it was such an absolute abhorrence for Doctor Who to be cancelled or postponed now and to have another gap year. It needs to continue. I'd like it to continue without shooting, but it needs to continue. That's the one thing. It needs to continue. It needs to be more than 8 episodes a year. It's not enough. We go from having it on 44 weeks a year to having 8 weeks a year. It's a big difference.
I think that whoever you are, if you're a fan of this show, however you feel about this era, this Doctor, this production team, nobody wants this to end, do they?
No, but fuck the special effects. We don't need them. We need a good plot, good stories. Space Babies had all these special effects. Who needed them? I want to live, and I don't believe I can survive another succession of gap years. I don't believe I'll live it through.
In many ways, Doctor Who is...
It will psychologically destroy me after all I've done. But the most important thing to get across this podcast, listen, my most important point to get across this podcast is that C Splosh Splosh NTS telling the BBC that I am charging people to see Doctor Who's when nothing could be further than the truth. Doing that to try and bring me down, that is abominable. The BBC more fool you for listening to them. Shame on you. After what I've done for you, shame on you, BBC, for listening to them.
I think we're going to leave it there for now. Hopefully we'll reconnect in the near future and pick up some threads from all of this and maybe some other topics as well.
We covered everything. We covered the current show. We covered the letter writing campaign against me. We covered Alice in Wonderland. We covered the 97 missing episodes. And we covered it all, do you think?
Yeah.
Remember, if you're interested to see the missing episodes, you want to talk to me privately to discuss it, because I'm never going to charge you to see them. Then email IanLevineDoctorWho, Ian Levine Doctor Who at yahoo.com. You can email me. I'll be glad to talk to you.
Thank you again for your company, Ian, for sharing some of these exciting images and clips from various productions.
And I want you to tell Simon from me.
Yes.
Simon.
You tell him. He's watching. You tell him.
Simon, go and watch Lucky Day. Don't argue with me. Go and watch it and see what I enjoyed, and go watch The Well. You owe it to yourself, Simon, to keep an open mind. If I tell you they're good, they're fucking good. Believe me. Go and watch them. And Russell T. Davis, an open statement. Stop your fucking politics and make more episodes like Lucky Day and like The Well, because that's what we want to see. And bravo for making them. Even though you did tell me to fuck off in front of a room full of journalists, I can even forgive you that for making an episode as good as Lucky Day. Because that's what I want to see, and that's what I enjoyed. I watched it 4 times already.
4 times?
Yeah, how many times have I watched Space Babies? And I haven't slagged a certain person off. A person
You haven't slagged anybody off.
No, but there's a person who I hate and loathe and despise with every fibre of my being. That person we haven't mentioned by name, and I'm not going to. And God help me if you take that bit out.